Ben Roethlisberger has finally endorsed Mason Rudolph as the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, he talks about Aaron Rodgers potentially coming to the team. But first, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, some would say there's always been some bad blood between Big Ben and Mason Rudolph, because when Big Ben was still playing, a few years back, the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round of the draft, and Big Ben openly spoke how he didn't like that, and how he thought that pick could have been better used somewhere else. So there's always been some bad blood there, and also when Big Ben talked about quarterbacks on the team, he's always talked highly of Joshua Dobbs, and never really talked highly of Mason Rudolph. But until now, Ben Roethlisberger on his podcast endorsed Mason Rudolph as the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers for this upcoming season. Finally. So let's get into the direct quotes that he actually said about Mason Rudolph. Here it is. Mason can get the guys the ball. He can throw. Mason can throw the ball. Like, that's never been a question. He can get guys, he can make decisions, and get the ball out of his hand. And he's not afraid to take shots down the field either. You know, that's one of the things I think that you've watched Mason when he's been here. And then in the Tennessee days, like, he's not one of those guys that gets nervous and just wants to get the ball out of his hand right away. He'll sit in there and he'll throw it down the field. And I think that's what you got to do when you have George Pickens and DK Metcalf. Those are deep down the field guys. And so, if you don't end up getting Aaron Rodgers, which is what I think you'd want if you want to make your offense a wider net offense and create more things, if you don't end up getting him, I think you can stick with Mason and be happy with what you're gonna get. End quote. So there it is. Big Ben finally endorses Mason Rudolph, saying he's a really good quarterback and saying the Pittsburgh Steelers can have him be the starter for this upcoming season and feel really good about it. So the entire talk this offseason has been Aaron Rodgers coming to the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. Why hasn't he signed yet? Well, Big Ben obviously realizes that, saying, hey, the Steelers' first option is Aaron Rodgers, from what I could tell. But if he doesn't end up coming to this team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's no other option right now. There's no quarterback in free agency. There's no one in the trade market other than maybe Kirk Cousins that's available. So the Pittsburgh Steelers signed Mason Rudolph. It's the only quarterback basically under a contract who's capable of being a starter. So is he capable of leading this team if things don't go the way with Aaron Rodgers? And Big Ben says yes. He can be the starter. We've seen it before. We've seen what he could do. And he could play football. And that's the biggest thing. When a Hall of Famer endorses you, saying that you could be the starter of a team, then that's always a good thing. And we've seen Mason do it. We've seen it, just like Big Ben said, when he was here before he left to go to Tennessee. We've seen what he was able to do when Kenny Pickett went down with injury, when Mitchell Trubisky got benched. We've seen what Mason Rudolph could do when he came in and led the Steelers to a playoff berth, and then what he could do on the football field. So it's not like we haven't seen him do it before. There was all this negative talk around Mason Rudolph his first couple seasons when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the last season when he was with the team is what really had fans loving him as a football player. Before that, it was all negative stuff. But that last season is what made fans realize that he could actually be a quarterback in this league. So now that he's back from a stint with the Tennessee Titans, he is capable of being a starter. And Big Ben has endorsed him. All these years later, we were finally waiting for Big Ben's approval of Mason Rudolph. We all thought maybe he hated him. But no, he finally shows him love and endorses him as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. And if things don't work out with Aaron Rodgers, it sure could go the way with Mason Rudolph. And maybe they could do the same thing and make the playoffs. So that's enough with Mason Rudolph. Let's kind of get into Big Ben's comments as to why there's a holdup between Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers and his thoughts on the topic. So here's the quote. Now, everyone knows that Pittsburgh wants Aaron, but I think Aaron secretly, in my opinion, is still holding out for Minnesota, which is why he hasn't signed with the Steelers. Why else would you go throw with DK and blasted to everyone that he's throwing with these guys, but you won't sign. End quote. So this has been the thing the entire offseason about Aaron Rodgers and how he wants Minnesota, he wanted the New York Giants, or he wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are the three teams that are in play for him that he would go to. And Giants are now out of it because they signed Jameis Winston, signed Russell Wilson. So it's between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings right now. And the thing with Aaron Rodgers this whole offseason has been that actually Minnesota is his first option. Minnesota is the first option because they have a better team, and he believes that he could go farther with the Vikings. However, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in play because the Vikings, as of right now, don't want him on the team. They're fine with JJ McCarthy. They're fine with their quarterback situation. They don't want Aaron Rodgers. So that's been the whole situation. That the Vikings don't want him, but Aaron Rodgers secretly wants the Minnesota Vikings. So Big Ben bringing this up is quite interesting because it's exactly what's happening. The Steelers are in play for Aaron Rodgers and are basically the last option for him. When you look at the Minnesota Vikings and Aaron Rodgers can help that team. Are you really going to go into the season with just JJ McCarthy at the quarterback's position after never playing it down in the NFL, after just coming off what I believe was an ACL tear? Are you really trusting him in your whole entire season after going 14-3? So Aaron Rodgers might be secretly holding out, being like, maybe they switch their mind. Maybe they realize that. Maybe they want to go into the season with not just JJ McCarthy. Maybe they want to go into the season with Aaron Rodgers and then JJ McCarthy to sit behind him. Maybe they want to go that route. So maybe Aaron Rodgers is secretly holding out for that reason, hoping that the Vikings change their mind and that he could sign with them. He knows already that the Pittsburgh Steelers have no other option. They would have to go with Aaron Rodgers. So he could play this out for however long he wants and wait on Minnesota Vikings till the last minute, because this fallback option will always still be there in the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he knows that. So he doesn't have to sign with the Steelers. He could go practice, meet with whoever he wants to meet with the team, the coaches, the players, whoever. He could go do all that with the Steelers. But in reality, he always knows the Steelers are going to be there as a fallback option if he doesn't sign with the Vikings. Just like how he wasn't worried when the Giants ended up going out and signing different people. That doesn't matter to him because his fallback option, the Steelers, will always be there, no matter how long he holds out. So in reality of the situation, I believe that's what's going on, and that's what Big Ben believes is going on as well. That he's secretly holding out and waiting and not signing the contract because he's still waiting on the Vikings to change their mind. And in reality, the Vikings, they can do that. They can change their mind. And to be honest, it might be a better situation if they do. Because, like I said, a rookie quarterback who just came off a major injury, when do they ever really do good? So bringing in a veteran with Aaron Rodgers, making sure that JJ McCarthy is actually fully 100% healthy, and maybe a better idea that way. So, the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers, are they meant to be? Well, Big Ben thinks that's what's happening. The Pittsburgh Steelers are still waiting out, and we're still waiting on a decision for Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, he did go out to meet with the Steelers. He met with the coaches, watched some film with Arthur Smith, went over the offense, talked to the players, talked to Pat Freiermuth, talked to DK Metcalf, went and worked out with DK Metcalf separately. He did all that, but in reality, he still hasn't signed here. And you wonder why. What's taking so long? If he knows the building, he knows what he wants to do, why would he not sign with the Steelers? There has to be something else going on in the background. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. That's the end of this video, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on both the topics covered. About Aaron Rodgers, why is he secretly holding out? Why is he not signing with the Steelers? Is it because he's waiting on the Minnesota Vikings? Or is there a different reason? Is he potentially going to retire? What's your thoughts? And also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below about Big Ben finally endorsing Mason Rudolph, saying if Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, that he fully believes Mason Rudolph could get the job done. And he's a quality NFL player, and we know what he could do at the quarterback spot, and he's not going to get rattled. So Mason Rudolph, he is a veteran in this league. He's not going to get rattled. He's been through it all. He's been through the ups and downs. He's been a quarterback who seen all the pressure from the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett, everything like that. He's been under pressure before, and he can handle it. That's my thoughts, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports, everything surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. I'm covering it. Every new player in the upcoming draft, we'll cover all that as well, just like I covered every new player in free agency. So make sure you stay tuned. The draft is right around the corner. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss out on anything. And until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.